When you think of a dog park, what comes to mind? Probably this perfect image, right? A sunny field, tons of happy dogs, all just playing. It looks like paradise. But what if I told you that whole scene is kind of hiding a darker side? From a behavioral science standpoint, there are some serious risks lurking there. So let's get into it, because what's really happening behind that fence? Well, it's way more complicated and honestly a lot more dangerous than you might think. So you gotta ask, right? When you unclip that leash and open the gate, where are you really sending your dog? Is it this happy-go-lucky playground, or is it something else? Yeah, it's something else. The truth is, it's so much more complicated than it looks. That chaos we see, the stuff that looks like fun, a lot of the time it's actually masking this cocktail of stress, total miscommunication, and conflict that can really mess with our dogs long term. Okay, so to really get why this happens, we have to just completely tear down this idea of the dog park as some kind of natural, happy place for dogs. Let's start with a really tough but important truth. Plain and simple, they're not natural playgrounds. Nope. Doesn't matter how much grass there is, a dog park is a totally man-made, artificial environment. And that right there is the root of almost every single problem. Here's the thing. We've created what experts call an artificial social environment. Now, think about it like this. A natural pack of dogs, or wolves, that's a tight-knit family. They know each other. A dog park, that's like throwing a bunch of total strangers into a really loud, crowded party, and the guest list is changing every 5 minutes. This constant churn of new faces creates so much confusion and anxiety. Your dog is constantly having to figure out, who's this, what's their deal, over and over again. It is just stressful by its very nature. And in this kind of pressure cooker, the fights that break out, they're not random. Not at all. They happen at really predictable spots, these flashpoints. The entrance gate is a huge one. I mean, it's a total chaos zone of intense greetings that, in dog language, is super confrontational. Then you toss a favorite toy into the mix. Boom. Instant competition. And then you have this awful thing called mobbing or sharking, where a whole group of dogs just gangs up on one poor dog. The craziest part, a lot of the time, the dog that starts the fight is actually the victim. They're acting out of self-defense because they're totally overwhelmed and all their signals for "leave me alone" have been completely ignored. But it's not just about the social drama. There's something else going on. Something invisible. It's a powerful chemical process happening inside our dogs' bodies. And it's a huge reason why things can go from 0 to 60 in a split second. It's a concept called trigger stacking. And this is so important. It's not about a dog being bad. It's pure biology. Imagine every little stressful thing that happens is a drop of water in a bucket. The car ride, a weird noise, another dog sniffing too long, drop, drop, drop. Normally, there's time for the water to evaporate. But at a dog park, the drops come too fast. The stress hormone, cortisol, just builds and builds until bang, the bucket overflows. Let me just walk you through a super common scenario. Okay, so first, the car ride. A little bit of stress there. Then you get to the park and your dog is just vibrating with excitement. That's another stressor. Then you go through that crazy gate scene. Bam, more tension. And then inside, some dog gets a little too rough. Each one of those things is another drop in that bucket. Now your dog is over threshold. Their bucket is full. So when some tiny little thing happens next, like another dog just accidentally bumps into them, they snap. And to us, it looks like it came from nowhere. But it didn't. It was the final straw. And hey, this isn't just some abstract idea. It's backed by science. We can actually measure it. One study found that it takes just 20 minutes, that's it, for a dog's cortisol levels in their saliva to spike in a dog park. That is a physical, measurable stress response, happening faster than you can watch an episode of your favorite show. Okay, so a massive piece of this puzzle is, well, it's us. A lot of the time, we humans are basically illiterate in dog language. We just don't see the tiny, subtle signals they're sending each other. And because we miss them, we let bullying happen right in front of us. All right, let's talk about the biggest misconception out there, the wagging tail. We see it and we automatically think, oh, what a happy dog. But hold on, a loose, flowy, sweeping wag? Yeah, that's probably a happy, relaxed dog. But see that other one? The high, stiff, fast wag? That is not a happy dog. That's a dog that is highly aroused, agitated, and maybe even issuing a challenge. You have to look at the whole picture. And that brings us to another huge point. Not all play is the same thing. You've got your wrestlers who love to get physical, but what happens when they try to play with a gentle player? The wrestler is having a blast, but the other dog is terrified. Or you get the body slammers who are just plain dangerous for smaller or older dogs. See, good, healthy play is a two-way street. It's give and take. When it's one-sided and one dog's signals are being ignored, it's not play anymore. It's just bullying. So, we've looked at the environment and we've talked about the dogs. But now it's time to talk about the single most important piece of the safety puzzle at the dog park. And that's us, the humans. So, what about this idea that we should just let dogs work it out? You hear it all the time. And honestly, it's one of the most dangerous myths out there. This belief that a random bunch of dogs who don't know each other should just be left alone to sort out their problems. When we stand back and just watch, we're basically teaching the bully dog, hey, what you're doing is totally fine. And even worse, we're teaching the victim, sorry, you're on your own, I'm not going to help you. That can cause real psychological damage. A lot of this is because of something called the bystander effect. You know, when there's a crowd, everyone just assumes someone else is going to do something. And the flip side is just as bad. If an owner panics and starts screaming, they're just pumping their own stress right into their dog, basically throwing gasoline on a fire. Okay, so what do you do if a real fight breaks out? First rule, the most important rule, never, ever reach for their heads or collars. That's the fastest way to get seriously hurt. The safest way to intervene is called the wheelbarrow method. You need two people for this. Each of you comes up behind your dog, grabs their back legs like you're a wheelbarrow, lifts, and just walk backwards. That little semicircle turn you do at the end, super important. It keeps your dog from twisting around to bite you or lunge back at the other dog. All right, I know this all sounds pretty intense, maybe even a little scary, but look, the goal here isn't to convince you to never go to a dog park again. The goal is to help you shift your mindset from just reacting to problems to actually preventing them. It's all about being proactive. I love this way of thinking about it. A dog park isn't a training ground, it's the final exam. Your dog has to be ready before they go. So, are they old enough, fully vaccinated? And this is huge. Do they have a rock-solid recall? Will they come when you call, no matter what's going on? Do they play nicely with others? Do they get possessive over toys or people? If you're saying no or I'm not sure to any of those, then they're just not ready yet. Now, let's zoom in on that recall for a second because it's so important. A lot of us, without even realizing it, have poisoned our come command. Think about it. When's the only time you call your dog at the park? When it's time to leave, right? To end all the fun? So of course the dog learns that come means the party's over. Why on earth would they want to listen to that? But don't worry, there's a really cool fix for this from the amazing Dr. Ian Dunbar. Here's what you do. While your dog is playing, call them back to you. When they get there, give them an amazing treat, lots of praise, make it a party, and then immediately say, go play, and send them right back to the fun. If you do this a few times every visit, you completely change what come means. It's not the end of the world anymore. It's just a quick, awesome check-in with you. This is a total game changer. And hey, it's also really important to remember that the public dog park is not the be-all and end-all. It's not the only option. In fact, there are way safer alternatives. Small playdates with dogs you know your dog gets along with? Fantastic. Taking a hike with your dog on a long leash? Great exercise and way more controlled. Even a really good daycare that properly screens the dogs can be an amazing outlet. So really, after all this, it all boils down to one simple question. The question isn't, are dog parks good or bad? The real question is this specific, intense, unpredictable place the right choice for my dog right now, today? And being able to answer that question honestly for your dog, that's what being a great dog owner is all about.